Hi guys, Ali Taylor here, and today we're going to talk about how to stop coming over the top in your golf swing. Right then, so over the top. Now there's a phrase that I think gets thrown around a huge amount, particularly when guys come and see me. The first comments they tend to say is, I get told that I come over the top and it causes this and this in the golf swing. And I think the first thing is actually understanding what over the top is, because some of the guys that tell me they're doing it aren't. So first of all, let's understand what is over the top, what's causing it, but then most importantly, how we're going to fix that. So first of all, what is that over the top movement? And for any of you guys who have been videoing your swing, you know, what you'll see is from this down the line, is that whatever's happening on the way back, you will see that club moves out, and then once it's outside the golf ball, the club head, it has to work back to the left, cutting across the golf ball. And the two kind of shots that you tend to see with the over top movement are either a big pull or that horrible slicey one over to the right. So let's just look at the numbers from TrackMan there and help us understand how the club was moving through impact, what caused those two shots, decide which one of those is yours, probably more likely that one that goes over to the right, but let's understand why it's happening, and then let's give you a really easy little feeling and thought process to help you stop coming over the top. So we can see the shot was straight pull, and we see the club path was minus 9.1 degrees. So anytime there's a minus, that means the club's moving to the left. Anytime there's a plus or there's a positive number, it means it's to the right. So we can see that the club path was 9.1 degrees out to in, and the club face was almost dead square to that, which gave us the little pull. And we look at the second shot, which is probably the more common one with a lot of golfers. My club path was still 5 degrees left, but my brain's trying to work out how to get the ball back to target. The club face has then been left very, very open to the path and even open to the target, and that's why that one's actually set off a little right and then cut from there. So why do we see that movement with so many golfers? So it's very much that most golfers, I wouldn't say do it great on the way back, but in my opinion, most golfers get the club in the backswing in a position where they could actually still deliver the club from the inside. And then the problem is, once they get to the top of their swing, we see a very upper body initiated downswing. We look from down the line, once we get here and it's very upper body, we could see the hands move further out in front, the club follows, and there's only one way we can go from there, is back to the left, because we want to make sure we make contact with the golf ball. And I do think for a lot of golfers, it's that fear factor of, from here, almost wanting to get the club back on the ball as quickly as possible. So what I want you to understand is, if we look at the way you move in the backswing from a sequence perspective, what we would see is, from our address position, we'll generally see the club, the hands and arms move first, then the shoulders, then the torso, then the lower body. So it's very much kind of club up that moves our backswing, and once we get to the top of our swing, we would want to see a reverse. So we would want to see lower body, then torso, then arms, then club. So if you look from this angle, we get to the top with that good sequence, and what we see with most guys is the complete opposite of what we want. We see club and arms, then torso, and then some lower body trying to help out, but it's incredibly difficult to get a strike on it, get that path any good, and then club face generally is then compensating to try and get the ball back to target. So what I want you to feel is that as we get to the top of our backswing, I want you to feel, and it actually won't happen, but I want you to feel almost as though as you're getting to the top, the club itself actually gets left behind as everything else starts down. So if I do that very slowly, you can see straight away as soon as the lower body initiates, the club actually drops down behind us, and then from there, as everything else turns, it delivers the club very differently. So for a lot of guys, this can be a very strange concept because they kind of feel, well, if I'm leaving the club behind, how is it going to catch up to hit the golf ball? Will it be my hands and arms? It won't, because address and impact are such different positions. So I've spoken about this in videos before. You know, address is very much there, whereas impact, the body is rotated much more out the way. There's much more forward shaft lean. So it's allowing that timing to take care of itself. So what we would see is do it very slowly to begin with. Leave the club and then down, and then gradually just build a little bit of speed into it. And even though it feels like you're stopping at the top, you won't. You'll feel actually what's happening is as the club feels it stops, the lower body's already initiating, which is that little bit of separation that we're looking for. Lower body and upper body separating, shallows the club out. So get more and more of those practice swings. Now for me personally, that doesn't feel hugely different, but that feels completely different to that. That feels all kind of chest and shoulder orientated, whereas actually here, doesn't really feel like my shoulders kind of want to get involved at the start of the downswing. So let's do 2 more of those. Felt good. Okay, so I think like with any practice drill, it's always incredibly easy when there's no golf ball there, because you are focused 100% on what you're doing. And what most golfers tend to do, in my opinion, is in the practice swing, they focus on the swing. In the shot, they just focus on the golf ball. They lose the focus on what they're doing and they revert back to what they've always done. So I'm going to hit a shot a little bit slower to begin with, like we did in the practice swings, and really try and focus on my movement and not worry about the contact with the ball and where the ball goes. That's just going to be a byproduct of what I do. So we're going to set up. So felt very different. You can see the shape of the shot completely different. And there the club path has been 7 degrees from the inside and my club face was 7 degrees closed. So again, let's have one more slightly slower one. Again, see a very different shape, still finishing left, granted, but we can see there 5.8 degrees from the inside, so swinging to the right with that club face closed. Now, certainly for me, when I feel that I'm kind of very slow with that, it actually doesn't let my body get out of the way enough. Don't necessarily think that'll be too much of a challenge for too many of you guys. It's that feeling of leaving the club at the top, and as the body starts, that club shallowing out. Okay, so let's build a little bit of speed into there, see how that feels. So very good. Again, a little bit turny, but you can see a completely different way of delivering the club. Let's go one last one. Again, felt great. There's that little draw. And again, we can now see that that club on those last few swings has been moving 7 degrees to the right as opposed to that first one of going 9 degrees left. So if you can get that feeling of just leaving the club, that split second at the top, that's going to stop you coming over the top forever. Right then guys, so hopefully you can see there, it's more change of mindset for how you start in that downswing, certainly keeping you more focused on what you're doing in your golf swing and not focused on trying to hit that ball and panicking and rushing in that downswing, but just feeling that you just leave the club there just for a split second, and it is amazing how much better as the lower body starts working, transfers energy into the upper body, then the club finally, how you can start delivering the club from the inside, stop swinging over the top, and start hitting different golf shots than you've ever hit before. And for anyone who's had a pull or a slice as a bad shot, probably that idea of hitting a draw might be a little bit scary to begin with, but even for me, if you're starting to shape it a little bit to the left, I just think golf's incredibly hard when you can miss it left and right. Whereas if you can start swinging more like that, I think you can eliminate half of the golf course, eliminate one side, and make it much, much easier. And then certainly you can stop all your golfing pals saying that you're swinging over the top. So if you have enjoyed today's video and you don't currently subscribe, please consider clicking the subscribe button, remembering to ring that notification bell, and then you'll find out whenever I drop a new video. Follow me on all my social media platforms, all under Ali Taylor Golf. Hopefully catch up with some of you guys down here soon. Stay in contact.